It is Friday, December 17th in the NBA, and I'm back with my 5 favorite picks of the day. We got 3 player props, 1 spread pick, and 1 over-under pick. Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Austin from Calling Our Shot, and let's recap another winning day. We swept player props. We had Chris Paul under 16.5 points, Kevin Durant over 50.5 PRAs. We were 1 Pacers basket away from bringing out the brooms, but maybe we'll save that for today. Maybe we'll be able to bring out the brooms today, but the Pacers, we had -10. They won by 9 points. Now, unrelated, we had a pretty good day in the NFL, cashing both our straight bets. Our only loss was the same game parlay. If you're new to the channel, consider clicking that subscribe button down below. We are 113 subscribers exactly away from getting 16,000. And you guys know, once we hit 16,000, or the next subscriber milestone, we always do a $16,000 subscriber parlay giveaway. And because it's the holiday spirit, we're going to do 2 this weekend if we can hit it today. We'll do 1 for NFL on Sunday and 1 for the NBA either Saturday, Sunday, maybe even Monday, depending on the slate. So click that subscribe button down below. It only takes a couple of seconds, and you can join the Call on Our Shot community. We are going to the moon. I know you guys want to join. Now, my last note, we have our NFL Best Bets videos coming out, starting to roll out later today. Not sure if I'll do one on the Browns-Raiders game, but definitely on the Colts-Patriots. You'll see a separate video for that one. And then the parlays and player props will be live Saturday night, which we've been on a ridiculous run. I think 18-6 over the past 6 weeks. So we appreciate it. Let's get into my best bet of the day. My final note, we'll probably have 1 or 2 added more plays as the day goes on. Still a lot of injury concerns in the NBA. It's a wild time to be betting. So make sure you guys are being diligent, doing your research, and maybe don't force any plays. That's why I only got 5 today, maybe 1 or 2 more, depending on how the day goes on. Sorry, my best bet of the day, probably you could have guessed it. Nikola Jokic over 19.5 rebounds plus assists, -130 on PointsBet. Now, this line is likely to change. It is on PointsBet, another sports book that's not necessarily as well known, but still a popular one. I do like the line at 20.5, which I saw on other books. But you see this, I'll pay a little bit of juice at -130 because Nikola Jokic, he's the man, he's the myth, he's the legend. Now, we're not going to make this a 1.5 unit play just because I don't want to have any 1.5 units today. It is Friday. You never know what's going to go down. Now, we love Nikola because he's been cashing this prompt for us nonstop. And today they are taking on the Atlanta Hawks. And the Hawks obviously start Clint Capella. And no offense, but Capella, let's be honest, he doesn't have much of an offensive game. This guy's not going to be a guy that's going to be shooting 3-pointers or really even getting any post-ups. That's not what he's going to get. He's going to be maybe catching some lobs, maybe setting some screens, and that's it. Now, Jokic, last game, we saw his rebounds down. Only had 10 rebounds, and that was because he was guarding Karl Anthony Towns out on the perimeter, guy that can knock down the 3-pointer. Well, lucky for Jokic, he won't have to do that today. He'll just be able to camp out in the paint and pile up the rebounds. Now, he will have to box out Capella, one of the better offensive rebounders in the NBA, but still, he's going to be down there. There's going to be a lot of opportunities, and there really is not a lot of guys on this Nuggets team that are capable of really hitting the rebound, getting rebounds. It's just how it is. They don't have a lot of big men. Now, Jokic has hit this line in 6 straight games and 8 of his last 9. In December alone, he's been ridiculous, averaging 13.5 rebounds per game, 9.5 assists per game, combined 23 rebounds plus assists. The guy's been ridiculous, like I said. And so we're going to keep riding him. Now today, we only need 20, maybe 21, depending on what line you get it at. But now these 2 teams did play earlier this season. Jokic nearly hit this line over in just rebounds alone. And the rebounds is the prop I would go for if you don't have rebounds plus assists. But he had 19 rebounds and 10 assists for the Atlanta Hawks earlier this season. I expect them to have a lot more opportunities again today, and the Nuggets will need them to rebound. Like I said, they don't have a lot of guys down there that can rebound. Now, the Hawks, as a team, they're giving up the 5th most assists per game on the whole season, so I believe Jokic will get his normal number, 8 to 10 assists, hopefully, per game. In his last 5 games versus Capella, he's hit this over in 3 of them. The only 2 losses he had, one he had 18, one he had 16 combined. One of those games, he only played like 25 minutes. He should see a normal complement of minutes, 33 to 37 minutes per game. Hopefully this game's a close one. Hopefully the Nuggets, you never know with that team. But we'll ride with the reigning MVP. We'll ride with him. Over 19.5 rebounds plus assists. Now moving on to some spreads and over-under picks. Taking the Jazz, -11.5 versus the Spurs. Almost laying a dozen on the San Antonio Spurs. You know what? I don't care, because if you watch the Spurs play lately, you'd probably be saying only 11.5. Yeah, exactly. They do not inspire a lot of confidence in anyone these days, and now they're taking on the Jazz, a very tough opponent who's finally finding their groove. They're really getting into it. They've won 8 straight games. 4 straight of those have been by 20 or more points, so not just 11.5, by 20 or more. They've beaten 4 straight teams, and 6 of those 8 wins alone have been by 20 or more points. And so now you got Spida on their team, Donovan Mitchell, and the new Spider-Man just came out, so this is a no-brainer play. But all joking aside, you got to think about it. This Jazz, one of the best teams in the NBA. They've been doing a lot of the damage. This winning streak, a lot of the damage has been on the road, but today they were at home, and at home is exactly the opposite of where the Spurs want to be, as they are on the road. Spurs have been terrible on the road. Over their last 5 games, just in general, they've lost 3 of them by 16 to the Hornets, 15 to the Nuggets, and 12 to the Knicks. Let's be honest, the Jazz are much better than all 3 of those teams, and now they're on the road where they're averaging 11.5 points fewer per game. They're shooting 4.5% worse from the field, 4% worse from 3, and attempting 3 or 4 less free throws per game. And all in all, you're facing a Jazz team that is number 1 in offensive rating, and number 5 in rated and defensive rating. This team's awesome. Over their last 3 matchups against each other, Jazz versus Spurs, that's Jazz have won all 3. They've won by 32, 11, and 21 points. So technically, they only covered in 2 of the 3 games. The one game they didn't, it was on the hook. They still won by 11 points, and they didn't have Donovan Mitchell or Mike Conley. Both those guys will be active today, assuming all things considered. You never really know in today's NBA. All things considered, I'll fade this Spurs team. Lay the points, taking the Jazz minus 11.5 at home. Now moving on to my over-under pick of the day, taking the Magic. Team total under 102.5 points, minus 115 on DraftKings. Now, the Magic are at home taking on their down south rival, the Miami Heat. And while the Miami Heat are banged up, if you look at their injury report, you're like, what the heck? You'll probably need the rest of the day to read it. But still, they're still a very good defensive team. Still have Kyle Lowry and PJ Tucker, and even Dwayne Dedmon to hold down the defense for him. KZ Okpala off the bench. The defense has been pretty solid. Now, Duncan Robinson, he doesn't play defense. It's not his MO. But I'm not worried about that, because the Magic, you could look at their injury list, and that would take the second half of your day, because their injury list is just as long, except some of their guys are game time decisions questionable to play. But if, God forbid, Cole Anthony or Gary Harris doesn't play, mainly Cole Anthony, this team's not going to score that many points. The Magic are 1, not good. And number 2, not good at home, as at home they're averaging on the road they're averaging 104.4 points per game. At home they're like, nah, we're good. They average 96.2 points per game. They've gone under 8 of 11 home games this season, including 5 of their last 6 games. And some of the defenses they have played are not as good as the Miami Heat's, nor do these teams play as slow as the Miami Heat, who currently rock the 4th slowest pace in the NBA. The Heat have held 2 of their last 3 opponents under this line altogether, some of those games even being on the road like they are today, and those teams were the Sixers and the Bulls, which have much more firepower than this Magic team. The one team to hit the over versus this Heat team in the last 3 games was the Cavaliers, who scored 105 points, and they're an absolute wagon. So see, look at it. These 2 teams obviously play each other frequently. The last 2 matchups, the Heat and the Magic have scored 97 and 90 points. The 90 points actually coming this season when they were at home against this Miami Heat team. Give me the Magic, team total under 102.5 points, and not think otherwise. Now let's move on to 2 more player props. Jonas Valanciunas, I'm taking his under, 13.5 rebounds, minus 125 on DraftKings. Personally, just too high of a number here. Now, is Jonas Valanciunas capable of hitting this? Absolutely. But I'm going to bet against him, because something I know and love about Jonas, well, love if you're betting his unders, that man loves the foul. He loves the foul. That's his favorite thing to do. That's his favorite stat to pile up. He loves going out there and just hacking people left and right, and I would love to see him do that again today. Now, Valanciunas as a whole, averaging 12.1 rebounds per game on the season, so this is 2 above what they're asking him to get. And now he's taking on a Bucks team that, sure, they are going to be without Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis today. They're a banged up team, but still on the year they're really giving up, I think, the 2nd fewest rebounds per game to centers. And granted, this is a different team than they normally are out there with, but still, you look at this Bucks team, they don't really have a lot of depth at the center position. They might even be trotting out there DeMarcus Cousins for all we know, a lot of minutes, but this line I think is just a little bit too high for Valanciunas. Only 2 players on the season have hit this over versus Milwaukee, Domantas Sabonis and Andre Drummond. And sure, could Valanciunas have 20 rebounds tonight? Absolutely, he's capable of doing that, but I'm just going to bet against him. Trust the analytics here. Jonas Valanciunas only hit this line in 2 of his last 18 games, and my hope is that we see Jonas Valanciunas get into early foul trouble. That would put a smile on my face, and that's exactly what I want to see on a Friday night. So I'll take his Valanciunas under 13.5 rebounds. It's a little bit sketchy, but I'll ride with it. Now, my last play of the day, before we get into, we'll probably have a couple other plays we add on Twitter. We're talking Norm Powell. I'm taking his over 19.5 points, minus 125 on DraftKings. Now, I talked to my friend Prop Bomb on Twitter. If you don't follow him, you should definitely go drop him a follow. You should also follow us if you haven't already. Follow us on all our social medias down below. But he loved this one, and so did I. Now, you look at the Blazers. Norm Powell is a Blazer, and they're taking on the Charlotte Hornets today. Now, the Blazers, sadly, CJ McCollum not there. He has a collapsed lung, which is a serious injury, so get well soon to CJ. But all in all, really, it's just the Dame and Powell show out there, and that's really all they got. The Blazers do not have a lot of bodies to play, and that has shown over the last 5 games. Powell has played 39-plus minutes in all of them, and in those games, he scored 25, 23, 15, 26, and 29 points, hitting this line easily in 4 of the past 5 games. Now he gets a pretty good matchup against a fast team in the Charlotte Hornets. Now, the biggest thing for Norm really has been his shot attempts. He's attempted 17-plus shot attempts in 4 of those 5 games. You'd guess it. What's the one game he didn't hit his over? Well, he only attempted 11 shots, and that's because Anthony Simons came off the bench and said, I got to get mine, and shot 20-plus times. You can't really make that up. You can't control that. I think that was more of an anomaly. Powell, you look at it, or in this, as the season goes on, or the whole season, when he gets his shot attempts, he normally hits this line. On the season, when he shot 15-plus times, he's hit the over in 8. He's done that 8 times. He's hit the over in 7 of those 8 games. Coincidentally, the one game he didn't hit the over when he shot 15-plus times was against today's matchup on Halloween, October 31st. He played against the Charlotte Hornets. He only had 14 points in that game. Norm's out for a little bit of payback today. Over the Hornets' last 15 games, they've given up the 3rd most points per game to opposing shooting guards, and we all know they like to play fast, currently at the 4th fastest pace. They might be getting a couple guys back today, but all in all, the over-under is 227.5 points for a reason. The sportsbooks expect a high-scoring game, and it's going to start, if the Blazers are going to score that many points, it's likely going to be behind the backs of Damian Lillard and Norman Powell. So I'll be riding with Norman Powell. I hope he gets aggressive. He's going to shoot a lot of threes, and hopefully he gets to the rim and scores in the paint tonight. So we'll be riding with him over 19.5 points, minus 125, 20.5 fine line as well. Now that'll do it. Like I said, I might add some extra plays as the day goes on. We'll post our NFL videos later on this afternoon towards nighttime. I'll be looking for you, Buddy Hield, which happy birthday, Buddy Hield. Clap it up for him. It is his birthday. I might be firing up a lot of shots tonight. Kings might be out with a lot of players. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new. Let's hit 16,000 subscribers today. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like I said, NFL videos coming later today. Let's get after it. Let's have a great weekend. Let's start the weekend making some money. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.